So what I'll use as a demonstration thing to talk about layout is kind of a classic sort of paperback style, which gives us most of the challenges that we'd want to do. So I'll probably start from scratch on this one, and maybe we'll refer back to the one that I've already done some setup work on. Largely, upon arriving, you're going to set up some kind of a base size, which you might have already determined because you started a project that is already set up for the cover. I'll just try my 6x9 thing here, and thinking in terms of what making this work more easily. First of all, facing pages is something that will give you the standard folded look for that, and that's as you're observing it here. If you upload a PDF to one of these services that's set up in another way, I don't think it matters. I think it's going to take those pages and put them in the right spot based on whether it's ending up on the front side of a page, the back side of a page, part of a spread, and so on. We can change a few of these things after the fact too. We can continue to add pages. We can say columns and margins, and that's something that I'll show you where we can change that stuff. One thing you might want to set up in advance, though, is any kind of bleed that might be necessary. So if you think the contents are going to have any kind of graphics where you want them to go off to the edge of the page, that could include something as simple as a line, a score that goes across the top to separate the body text from the page numbers. That would be something that you want to plan for. So I've put in just a kind of typical bleed size here of 0.125. These two numbers, the margins and bleeds, are both set to automatically lock to proportion so they can be equal, and that's probably generally correct. We'll play with our gutter. Gutter is the guts as you open up a book, the amount of space in between pages to accommodate the fold of the paper. So it's sort of not an outside margin, but literally an inside margin. Okay. So when we make a document that has facing pages, the first page will be missing its left neighbor, and that's, imagine that that's going to be part of the cover, so that your first page is probably a title page. So any kind of graphics that can go there. Because of the way bookbinding works, you may have to hit a specific number of pages. So you may have bought books that have a blank inner page before you get to that cover page, and that's just a choice. You could put all of your blanks at the back, but typically you have to do it in increments of 4 because of the way I believe the paper is folded and then basically glued at the bottom for these kind of softbound books, and that's why you end up with needing an increment of 4 for the printer. So let's imagine something where this is going to be my inside cover or title page, and then I can start doing content. So I'll set up one where we'll do a graphic there, we'll have this blank, we'll have the table of contents here, and actually start our content proper here. So one of the first things you want to think about is using the window pages here to set up a master. I like to, and I didn't do this for the book, and I regret having done it, but I like the idea of outlining what parameters you need for pages. So something like a chapter page could be the same as my title page. Imagine something where the big text, otherwise blank, no page number. That sounds like a style in and of itself, so we might designate that as a master. The normal content might be a master. We might make the first page of a chapter a separate one so that it can have the page number off. It can have a space for maybe the chapter title and things like that. So your master section here could end up being really long. For something like this where you're only going to do maybe 5 spreads total, you could do these, and I wouldn't know if you're handing in a PDF. I wouldn't know if you did each page manually. But in order to retain consistency, it's really a good idea to set up a master. I'm going to show you how to do it here. Let's say that my A master, I think it's probably worth maybe leaving that, but we could also rename it. I'm going to make some changes to my guts content here so that I can make a little bit bigger gutter, and I think I'm going to leave the columns where they are. So anytime you want to change a page, I'll use my A master for the majority of the content here. We'll click on the master itself, so highlighting it. So right now we're actually working on the master, not on the pages itself. If you ever get lost, just double check to see what you have highlighted, and that will dictate what you're seeing in this window if you start using this palette, the pages palette. Okay, so for layout, we'll go to margins and columns. So right now it's set to 1 column per page, that's normal. If you wanted to do narrow columns of text, which you might do for some kind of books, we could say 2 columns. And I think as we do this, we'll start seeing a change, for example. The gutter is the space between those, so if we wanted to increase or decrease those, we have the control here. What's nice is we're seeing it update, so we know exactly what we're getting. So for mine, I think I'm going to actually just do a single column because it's kind of a trade paperback. I'm going to make my gutter, it doesn't matter because it's 1 column. I will make my top margin, and yours will probably be locked by default. You don't want to turn that off. I'll make the top a little bit deeper for a nice kind of bottom heavy look, and then I'll make the inside a little bit fatter for that fold. And maybe I'll just make this a more even number like that. Okay, so I've changed that master to have that layout. If I go back into here, we'll see that all of those pages are now updated to include that because it's the only master in the book right now. So I might choose to do, and I knew I was going to do that, this guy. Make a new master for other stuff. So let's say that this next master is called Chapter Open. We'll say OK. And maybe we're going to leave the page numbers off on this one. What else can we do? We'll change the margins. So I'm going to make this margin really big so that for the most part, the text, the title of the chapter starts right there. And maybe I'll bring up the bottom too, just to remind myself not to go too far off that. So now I know that for those pages, that's where my chapter is going to go. Now I could also say, well, maybe I want to have, and this is pretty typical with, say, a paperback book, to actually have the chapter content start there. So maybe I might leave that. I can put stuff outside these margins, that's okay, but this is just like a nice little stamp that's going to be on all of those pages as soon as I designate it, that will remind me so that every time a new chapter comes around, they all look consistent. So we can say okay to that. I didn't change my gutter. I should probably do that. So it's still selected, so I know I got it. That'll be my inside, and we'll just do, I think I said 0.75. You might get to the point where you might start writing things down, so you have things consistent. It can be hard to remember. You can always open up the old one and get to it. So that's kind of how to use the masters. I'll probably need to come back, but I could even see using like the chapter one for the table of contents, for example. So it's probably pretty useful. So now back into my body of work here. Remember that everything is currently set to a master. So if I want to use that B, the chapter open on that first page, I could say apply master to pages, and I'll say which page you want. And I guess I want to apply it to that one. I wonder what the trick is. There we go. Apply master to pages. And B master to page 1. And now that changes. But I'll go ahead to 2 and see that those have retained their size and shape, so we're good to go there. Now let's start setting some stuff up that's going to be actually on each page. So we probably want page numbers. We might want a graphic or something that ties the book together graphically. And the rest of it's probably going to be on a page per basis. So let's go with A master here, and we're going to set up page number. Page number is just going to be your basic text field, but to get to the guts of that, we need to go a little bit deep here. We're going to go type, and this is a special character. It is a marker, current page number. You can see there's a shortcut for it if you bothered to learn it. And it'll put in something. It'll put in a placeholder, kind of an algebraic thing here that says A, and it's going to be currently left justified in the default typeface. So don't neglect that this is part of the design too. Don't just use the defaults. Feel free to get in here and make this a part of the design too. I think you should probably blend the outside into the book and vice versa, so whatever choices you made outside can ripple into the inside. I'm going to just go with something kind of a little bigger and a little sans serif, and I will go, I'll use a special kind of justification for it so that it's on the outside it'll be left justified, and on the right side it'll be right justified, so that they always slide to the right rather than build from the right and go to the left. So that's one. And if I were to just double click and test here, you'll see that indeed pages 2, 4, and so on are numbered, and they've got the typeface, and it's automatically numbered. As you change those pages around, the numbers will update. What's really cool later is that all of that scrambling that you might do when you're editing your book can ripple into the table of contents too. Change the hell out of it, just hey, update table of contents, and all those numbers will update too. So it is really getting this information as a metadata piece of information from its real page location in the text itself. So I only did one side there. We'll just pop up to my A master again and grab it. I think I'll just copy and paste it. But instead of having it left justified, I'll put it in about the same place and set it to right justified, so it'll actually build from that point. It looks like I've got them in the same place, but might need a little nudge in. Okay. Anything that you want on all the pages should go into the master, or at least that style of page. On my book, I used a graphic for the it's kind of a drop shadow beneath the text for that page number. So I just kind of designed something for this Tarzan thing, which may or may not work, but we'll give it a try. It's kind of an island. The first chapter is out to sea, so I figure that might work. We'll just send that to back, and I think I'll flip it so that this one is left heavy or right heavy, and vice versa. So we'll transform that with a flip horizontal. Butt it over here, and you probably saw how I sent it back. That was the shortcut Shift Command and the brackets to send it back. And you don't need to crop it here, but I'm just going to do that because that's going to drive me nuts hanging out the side. In fact, if this was a graphic that we wanted to extend past the cut lines of the book, we'd want it to actually go out to that red line. Okay, so I think that's okay. Let's kind of bottom that out so it looks like that. And I'll copy it and I'll paste it. I'm doing that so that I retain the same size across the two, just to keep it consistent. And I'll flip it back to its original shape, which is transform, flip horizontal. You can see it's flipping from the center, which can be kind of a drag because it made it pop all the way over to the right again. So I'll just quick take a look. Those are a little big, but we can leave it for now. Okay, save it, head out here. So now I've got page numbers on all sides, and maybe that is a little dark still. Might plan ahead for that, but that's okay. Okay, the next part of this is doing some styles. We do the styles before we do the table of contents because when we designate a chapter heading, for example, that'll be its own style, and that style is something that plugs into the meta and says, hey, okay, that's a heading. You want that as one of your chapters, and it will look for those words and place that plus its page number that it comes from into that table of contents. So typically we need some headings, we need some body text, we might make our table of contents a special typeface and so on. So maybe, you know, that first page is kind of a standalone thing, but this is Tarzan of the Apes. I'd probably do something a little fancier, but maybe I'll just lay in a little something so we remember what we're up to here. Black, get this, that's wrong, up. Bigger, 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 bigger. If you want to center it, I always kind of make this mistake. I try centering it manually. Just go ahead and extend your text box out to the margins and then hit center. Then you know it's centered for that page, including the margins if you have them, special ones. I'm also somebody who can't stand this like excess that happens here. Just I know it's not there, it's not doing anything, but if you start to add things like the author underneath here, the size of this box can be in the way. There's a little button here that says Fit Frame to Content, and that'll at least bottom out to the baseline of your text, and then you can just extend it back out if you want it. But we know that that's centered, and that's a pretty good place to start. All right, let's do some body text. So I found out that if you grab a text file from places like Project Gutenberg and archive.org, they're formatted for HTML. So they're going to have returns built into them, and you got to manually go in and fix them. Otherwise, you end up with something that I'll extend this out and show you what it looks like. Every line has a return built in, so when you paste it in, it doesn't come out right. So what I did was to correct a few paragraphs here so we had a little bit to work with. Just go back ahead and select that. Copy to the clipboard so we have it. Otherwise, you can actually place text. I'll show you what that looks like too. So we might start by making a text box where the page is going to start. Oh, hang on a second. If this is in fact the first page of our content, I want a different master. I said I was going to use that. So this is table contents, placeholder. Page 5 is going to be where my chapter begins, chapter proper begins. So I'm going to make sure I have that selected, and I'm going to apply the B master. So apply master, what am I going to apply? B master, page 5, go. So now I know that I can put in my soon-to-be chapter heading. Put that in there in a second. What to say? The first chapter is called Out to Sea. So put that in, out to sea, just the default text at this point. And then let's build our body text. Okay, place in here, as you've seen with placing graphics, is Command D. It's the same thing for text, so Command D to go grab it. And when we bring it in, it will fill that. And this is where it gets fun, if you can call it that. The rest of your body of text is in this little plus button right here. You just pick it up and drag it to the next place. And if you get that set right, it's ready to go. As you can see, this actually has the table of contents built into it because it's part of the text. But that's how you populate all of those really quick. And it automatically knows those margins. And if we change those margins, it'll update. So if we make that, oh, gee, I like it, but I want a little bit more space, all of those boxes will fit if we've set it up in this order. We got to make the master first and drop in those text boxes. So that's okay, but it's got a lot of excess information like the metadata from Project Gutenberg here. I'll get rid of all of that. Get rid of the chapter content. And notice that when I make a deletion, all of the other stuff comes in and fills. So this is the advantage of kind of working with that body of text as a big chunk. Now, no matter what I do, this is not going to line up right. If I change my typeface size, I'm always going to have those funky returns. So I got to go grab my already formatted stuff here. I'll just copy that and paste it in. It's going to come with the style that I just pasted in, but let's we'll just set it back to the default to show you what that might look like. So we'll just call it impact. Terrible. So whatever it was, we're going to set up a brand new body text. So I was thinking to go sans serif, which is a little modern for the content. Maybe that's not right. I'm thinking about type size. Here's where those point size really come into play, because if you know that 12 is kind of a normal, comfortable viewing size, you gotta kind of pick something that looks believable on page, you know. So I'm gonna go with a 12 point with about a 14 point leading on that. And I'm going to pick my justify with that last line being set to the left like that. I've got my first indent set to 0.4. We can extend that. This is something that we can do up here on this control panel, or we can do down here in the paragraph control. So maybe I'll try 0.5. Something a little beefier. Okay. You also have the ability to do a number of other things like offsets. After a paragraph, you can make the paragraph spacing different. Here's where we turn on and off hyphenating, which will change a lot of stuff. If you have stuff that ends up being a lot of hyphens, it can kind of drive you a little crazy. So I kind of like it without, but then you end up with some pretty dicey gaps in your text sometime. There are some crazy controls in here where you can set how it treats these spaces. Like if it's a certain point, it'll jam them together more in order to fit it, but this is the standard and it looks, the words are correctly spaced, the spaces are a little weird. Or randomized to fit the space available. Okay, so that's looking like the text style that I want. Notice that body text 1 came when I pasted it in from the other one. I like what I've done better than what I had, so I'm going to actually update this style to include my new information. Keep the name of it, but we're going to do what's called Redefined Style. So if you've made a style and you're changing it, go ahead and change it. Just make sure you then redefine that style, click. And now whenever I click body text, I'll just do it to this one as an example, body text, it becomes part of that. So it's as quick as a single click to change that up. Okay, but I want to make a different one for the section header. So let's do that. This will be based on the body text because I think I'm going to keep that look. I'll go with black. I'll go with, I keep hitting the small buttons there. There we go. Let's go large, hoping that these chapters are pretty short in name. We'll go with centered, and we'll take out our indent, which I don't think would be appropriate. So now you can see it's sitting dead center. And now I'm going to make a new style out of this. New paragraph style. We'll call it section header. It could be chapter header. Sometimes I need multiple, so I get into the habit of naming them with a number as well. Okay, so now that section header is something that we can apply again the next time that comes up. So let's say our next chapter rolls around here. Second chapter is called Tarzan Goes... So I'm going to make up one. Tarzan Goes Swinging. I don't think that's actually one. And it's swinging with an apostrophe. If I like it, I will select it and go section header. Okay, so single click can be done while the box is selected rather than the text, which is good because if you have text that's going across multiple pages, you're going to be selecting for hours. So that's a single click. And now that will tell the software when we say we're going to make a table of contents, hey, that's a chapter heading. And it will remember what it's called, where it comes from, and so on. All right, so justification, styles. Building your styles as you go is likely. It'd be a nice thing to try and do it ahead of time, like this is what my body's going to look like. But you start to see like, I kind of wish there was more space. You go in and you kind of tweak it. Presumably, if you were doing a big project, you'd nail it in the first chapter and then just apply. And that makes life easier. I don't think anybody's going to make enough stuff that a table of contents is necessary, but just want to show you this because down the road you might, something like a process book where you need to generate something. It's the same idea with an index too. So you could go in and flag specific words. You would have the style look the same, but it would be a different style, like this would be the index style, select things. What I thought about doing with mine was to go back and change all my movie title references to their own style. So it's only italics, which I did manually every time I hit it. But if I was smart at the head of it, I would have made those their own style. It's a little bit of work to go grab that style, but at the end of it, I could have said index and then said, okay, every time Kenny Loggins appears, here's the 60 pages, I'm sorry, it's a lot of pages on Kenny, that he appears on, and it would automatically populate that index. Okay, table of contents. We begin by going layout, table of contents. And we get to say the following things. We get to name it. So this is the text that's going to show up when we type it. So this could be chapters, this could be contents. I'll leave contents. And I'll make this the same style as, I'm going to make probably a different title style. But let's go section header for now. That means it's going to have that same beefy font that I've already chosen. Okay. And then in the table of contents is going to be what? Anything that's a section header. Let's add that. So I might do a couple of different increments of that. I might have a chapter with sections. So for my book, I did a subject like here's movies about guys with guitars. And then I had 4 movies that were guitar movie guys. And each of those got a subheading. So we use just the section header because we only have the 2 here. And here's where we get to page number. Where does the page number go? You might say before or after the entry. Let's try after for now. And then you get this pretty weird drop down here. It says between entry and number, and then it has a bunch of weird symbols. In this case, a little caret and a T. So that's currently set to do a single tab between the title and the chapter page number. So we can do all of these other things. It can be dots, dashes. It can fill the space available with dots, which is that classic routine. Let's say we go to the first tab. Let's try that out. I'm going to take out my original T. Okay, and I'll say OK. And this is asking about my overset text. I will say no to that. Overset text should be anything that might be a return in my chapter title that I might not see, but that is actually there. So it's something we can go back out and fix. Okay, so this is a little weird. It's on the wrong side. There's no space between them. And there's a few things I want to change. So let's do that. We're going to give it its own style. It needs it. So let's make the changes here because I like doing it graphically rather than trying to read the content of what I'm doing. So I definitely need to change that. I'm going to bring this down in size to something like that, which means this is still too big. I'm going to go, yes, that justified. Oh, let's go centered. Centered is fun. And I think that's all I'll do. Let's do not black, but medium. Okay, so now I've changed that. You see that a plus has arrived here. This is basically saying that the text that I'm currently working on is based on section header, but I haven't saved this style. I need to go and make a new style out of it. So new paragraph style, and this is going to be called TOC Guts 1. And now I say OK. So anytime I reapply that, or if I lose my formatting by accidentally picking something, oh, picked it wrong, I can go in and edit this. So let's show you where that is. Layout, table of contents with the ellipsis allows me to go back into here and edit it. So I want to use yes section header, and the style of it when presented is in the style of entry style TOC Guts. And I'm going to go after entry. And let's try a different style here. Let's go with bullet and the character. No, I'll tell you what. Tab character, then bullet character. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, and no, and okay, and it has changed. It's automatically updated. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that I probably need to fix that tab because there's probably tabs every 5 points or 10 points or something, and it's just putting it at that first tab. So if I want to ensure that these line up on the right, I've got one more thing to do. So I can edit a number of different ways. I can right-click here and say Edit. I can select it and make a new style. But I'll just go in and edit it here. So I think I need to put in a tab. Let's say, I think I just click and drag here. Oh, no, just highlight it. There we go. Let's see what happens if we put it at the 4-inch mark. I can put it in manually here too. Say OK. And now they're lined up right. That looks good. Okay, watch what happens if we add some pages. I'm going to save it. Let's say that we started writing and our chapter ballooned up. Well, I didn't think it was going to be that long, but I need to add some pages. So we'll go in and in Pages, we will go New Insert Pages. Let's add 2 pages. Oh, let's add 4 pages. It's a long chapter. After page, I think it's going to, let's go 7. Okay. Let's make sure that that's before our next chapter there. Yeah, should be good. Okay, so that added it after 7. And then so now Tarzan Goes Swinging is on page 13. This doesn't jive with that. I select it, update table of contents. No, and now it's right. So no matter what we do to the book, changing it, changing the order, putting in new pages, you just have to remember to go back and update it, but there it is. It's updated. So I think those are the big ones, the things that you might run into. There's a lot more to it. I mean, this is really made to do professional stuff, and we're just scratching the surface of it. But the big places are going to be pages, so that you can control your style masters and apply them, and also add pages. Your style palette, your paragraph styles, and then the tools related to that, including the text, the fonts, and the paragraph justification, and so on. So I think that's it. Is anybody trying to do anything that it didn't cover that they might want to see? No.
Just like having pictures in there, but he just like dragging out pictures, right?
Yeah. So I'll place the first picture here. Command D, just like we would for a regular layout. I'll just go grab something I did here. Let's grab this guy. Okay, it comes in like that. And then we'll do Shift Command and drag from the corners to scale it. You can also scale it numerically, so if we know that it's way too big and we want to get it on the page, do something like that. So let's say I wanted to present it like that. That's one way. Keeping in mind that we want it to go off the edge, perhaps we make sure that it's into the bleed like that. Another way would be, let's say we want to fill that whole page with that, is to let it go off. Try to frame up what we like and then trim off the excess, which my palettes are in the way of right now. Let's go F, tab that off. The right shortcuts here, V. V is the arrow tool, and there it is as a full page thing. It's also covering up my page numbers. So if you ever want to force a page to not have a page number, you can always just put a piece of white paper over it. So grab a white swatch and just go, doop, if you don't want to mess with the the page layout stuff. That was tab to hide the tools there, which is true of all Adobe stuff. If you ever lose your palettes, it's probably tab. Nice to have, but also, oh shit, my program's broken, is a common reaction you get if you accidentally touch it. So, placing graphics. What else? Anything else? So some of you have taken advantage of this and used it as an opportunity to create a portfolio book of stuff that you already got digitally, which is great. Amy's, how many pages is yours, Amy? You have 23 pages of content with like multiple pictures on each, so it's like a really big body of work. Actually, it's the perfect size for the magazine, so printing it through Blurb is, it's just hit the 20-page break, so it's good for that. So it's probably pretty easy to let this content get away from you if you want, but I'm going to judge it on the strength of some layout, some typography. The big ones are, and Malcolm put in his cover as an example, he's got one typeface across the whole thing, which is good because it's really consistent. I'll bring it up as an example. It's pretty good. I don't think I downloaded it. Let's wait on that. But they kind of say, designers say you max out at like 2 font choices, but I would include anything that's in a family of fonts, that counts too as 1. So if I said the interior of this book is going to be in Avenir or Futura, every one of those is a safe bet. So I could have my page number be a thin font, my chapter heading be a thick font, my body be the standard font, and they're all in the same family. That's good to go. That should really count conceptually as a single. When it comes to the title of your book, if you're still working on those, that's where I think you should have the most fun. It's a single word or a couple of words. So don't get stuck with just what you can type. Design it if you want. I think I see that somebody's tracing some type for their title. Anybody? Yeah. So yeah, if you find something that you like but you don't have the font, you can grab those letters that way too. So the other thing I want to say is don't forget Photoshop. I know it's been a while, but it seemed like we fell into the Illustrator pit and nobody can get out anymore. Some things you just need to have be photos, So if you're doing a package for food, it's a stretch to try to do Illustrator and try to make tasty looking food. It's gonna be a leap. So let photos be photos. Let illustration do what it can do best. And like I say, this final thing is probably a mix of everything that we've talked about. But there's not a lot of time left. This is it. So envision your scope as a realistic end game, and that's a hashtag, I'm not kidding. And let's see what I can do to help you guys out on anything we're currently working on.